morning. I remember when I was little, my primary school teacher talked about how the ice sheets were melting and the polar bears were losing their homes. Me and my friends, however, we were busy inside talking and sketching teachers' faces in ugly green and purple crayons. I never actually paid attention to climate change. In fact, my attitude toward this issue was greatly different just before I did the research for this talk than right now. Although climate change might not be a deeply intriguing topic, it is something that requires all of our attention because what it brings to us is way more than just polar bears losing homes. It is something far more serious. People may ask, where are we right now? How bad is the climate change currently affecting our life? Besides the mere facts that every year in the 20th century has been warmer, the melting of ice has caused the sea level raise at least 4 feet, and it may eventually grow to 12 feet. There are more stuff behind it. In September this year, North America experienced several natural disasters. There were 2 hurricanes landed in the US, wildfire raged across Pacific Northwest, and the largest earthquake in a century attacked Mexico. While climate change does not cause these disasters directly, it intensifies them. With the temperature getting so much warmer gradually, disasters like these are more likely to get out of control. The scientists have predicted that hurricanes may be less intense but way more frequent under the current climate situation. Dr. Sturman, who is a prominent analyst of risk perception and management, mentioned bathtub effect in his study. As we know, the primary harmful gas that's been emitted to the atmosphere is carbon dioxide. Dr. Sturman suggested that the amount of carbon dioxide is flowing in twice as fast as has been absorbed by plants in the ocean. He also claims that all the problems that are caused by the climate change will flow out of this bathtub so slow that even if we drop the emission right away, there would not be any significant improvement. So in a word, we are at the stage where the consequences of climate change are almost irreversible. How did we get to this point? What did we do to make our Mother Earth like a bathtub? In order to answer these 2 questions, we need to look at the history of industrialization. Originally, human beings rely on themselves for a living. We feed ourselves with natural sources and work in the fields to grow more of these sources. Then, after a great period of time, people started having domesticated animals in order to improve the working efficiency. Then some thousands of years have passed, wood mills and water mills were created. With the creation of the steam engine, the history of utilizing fuels began. After tasting the sweetness of fossil fuels and realized how it could greatly satisfy people's desire of endlessly modernizing the world, climate change was slowly taking its move. With the arrival of more artificial lighting, air conditioning, and automobiles, etc., the situation gradually became out of control. In summary, it is modernization that initiated the climate change. What worsened the problem, however, has always been that people did not really see the seriousness of climate change, and they never made any practical change to improve the situation. Apparently, we need to make moves to help the Earth from being further damaged by the climate change. And we need to act as soon as possible. However, we need to first realize and admit that human beings are not at all ready to deal or face the climate change. We are in denial of the problem, and because of the invisibility of climate change, we have been ignoring it for way too long. While some scientists and professional experts have given some suggestions and solutions to at least ease the consequences of climate change. One solution is that we can increase the price of carbon dioxide emission. With the price of CO2 emission goes up, the processes which produce the emission will soon be cut down greatly as well. The other solution, surprisingly, is birth control. It is easy to understand that less people create less pollution, and with the decrease of population, the basic needs will also go down. In addition to these 2 possible ways, there is another solution. It is to follow what Bill McKibben, an eco-campaigner, suggested, to live a simpler life. McKibben claims that we need to produce a nation full of farmers that do not make much damage to the environment, but also are able to create self-sufficiency. However, all the 3 suggestions require and rely on global cooperation. Several leading countries need to stand up and show the rest of the world how to create this ideal, simpler life. Yet which countries would sacrifice themselves and actually pause all the development? No one knows what the consequences would be. Especially for these leading countries, they would not want to lose the chance of being the top of the world. However, while we are waiting for a pragmatic solution, we need to do what we are capable of to cut down our daily CO2 emissions and needs. Here is where the cliche comes in. Stop driving automobiles and take more public transportations, avoid using too much air conditioning, and even just smoke 1 light cigarette each day. These might sound really old-fashioned, but when everyone starts doing them, significant changes will be seen in the future.